Congratulations to Delta Queens who have made it to the semi-final of the CAF Women's Champions League after Nelly and USFA of Burkina Faso ended it on a 1-1 draw affair right there at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, where the WAFU Champions League qualifier is actually going on. And good one for Nigerian Women's League champions Delta Queens for putting up a very good show in their first game by beating USFA of Burkina Faso 3-0. It ended. On that note, I will be welcoming you to the show sports update this lovely evening. I am Emmanuel Fashemi. Like I said, we started from Benin City. The Champions League qualifier, that is for the women, the CAF Women's Champions League qualifier. Delta Queens have started life through the qualifiers very well. The first time Nigerian team when they've made an edition of the CAF Women's Champions League, Rivers Angel actually represented Nigeria. It was not a good show for Rivers Angel. They lost their first 3 games. They were able to win their last game of the tournament, but it was not enough for them to qualify to the next round. And now this time around, Delta Queens is giving us a good representation after emerging champions of the Nigerian Women's League. And the second edition, where we have a Bayelsa Queens that represented Nigeria in the second edition, that they got to the semi-final. They actually played the top place match, winning the bronze medal. When it comes to women's football in Africa, Nigeria is the giant, and we expect Nigerian club would have even been the first club to win the first edition of the CAF Women's Champions League, but it went the other way around, and the second edition we were not able to win it. Now the third edition, will Delta Queens actually give us that trophy? The third time we are asking for. If it comes to the outcome, that is the African Women's Nations Cup, Nigerian are the highest winner of the Women's Nations Cup title, and we also want to translate that, want to see that when it comes to club matters, football matters for the women, but it's not what we expect. The national team is actually different from the club activities, from the club football, but it's a good one for Delta Queens, who have started life in the qualifiers very, very well. After beating USFA 3-0 in their first game, all they needed, one team actually exited the tournament. They did not show up. They did not show up for the tournament, and with that, it gives Delta Queens the edge over other teams. And their first game, 3-0, USFA of Burkina Faso actually suffered at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. Even with 10 women, they were able to win that one because Delta Queens actually got a red card in that game. But with that, they still went ahead, winning 3-0 in their first game against USFA of Burkina Faso. And USFA and Nelly playing their second game, and for Nelly, their first game, because they were drawn by. But it ended 1-1. If there had been a win in that particular encounter, I would have given another issue for Delta Queens. But it ended on a draw affair, 1-1 draw it ended. And with that, even without kicking the ball, Delta Queens are through to the semi-final, which is actually a cheering news for Nigerian Women's League champions. Because before now, I think NFF came out and said, okay, they are going to be supporting all clubs that will be playing in the continent this time around, and maybe that support is what that has actually spurred Delta Queens. But we know when it comes to sports, Delta is one state that you cannot take that away from them. They know what sports is all about. They know that sports is business, and they usually invest into sports. And that is what we want the federal government to also do. The Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports should look for a way of investing into sports. Sports is one unifying factor that brings people together, and outside that, it can create jobs for the youth. It can take the youth off the street. A lot of opportunities, job opportunities are there in sports, football, whichever sports at all. And if the government can actually pay attention to this, we can have a very viable and interesting sporting world here in Nigeria, and probably will become the toast when it comes to sport in the world. And it's a good one. Congratulations to Delta Queens. Congratulations to Delta FA, and congratulations to NFF, and congratulations to the NWF body who actually see to the Women's League. Though our league has not started, they are still on break, but for Delta Queens, that break never disturbed them at all, did not show that this team was on break, and now they are through to the semi-final of the CAF Women's Champions League. I don't know if my guest the way from Plateau State is ready to do justice. Okay, how about Michael? Delta
I'm ready.
Are through to the semi-final of the CAF Women's Champions League. That is the WAFUB CAF Women's Champions League qualifier. I have just react to that first before I will ask you the next question.
Yes, of course. As far as Nigeria is concerned, what a man can do, a woman can do better. I mean, the women are making us proud on all fronts, while the men are deterring, the women are flying the flags of Nigeria. I mean, look at Toby and Musa, and look at the Super Falcons. I mean, look at the Tigress. And of course, now even in the league that has been marginalized, look at the Delta Queens, making us proud. I'm tipping them to go all the way. I mean, to give Nigeria to beam the light on the Nigerian league, because generally it's been viewed as a league that the NFF don't pay attention to. I want to urge even the new minister, John Eno, who was a two-time House of Reps and he served the 8th Assembly of the Senate, to bring his managerial skills, his leadership skills, and to ensure that they put their weight behind Delta Queens. I mean, these ladies are making us proud, and we need to give them all the support they need to take it down to the finale.
Yes, they need all the support. But I have this question. Now, for the men, after you win your regional qualification, your country's league, you have what is called automatic qualification. Why making these women? Because it's also 90 minutes they play, the same object they run after, 11 players, the same size of pitch. Why making these women go through this rigorous qualification? Why not do it the same thing, the same way that they are doing with the men? Just win your league or come second in your league and you get the automatic qualification.
Yes, I think it's a work in the park. It's what they need to work on. Probably the league has been seen as a second-class league, but I think with what the ladies are accomplishing, with what they are achieving, it's high time for them to sit back. I'm talking about the NFF now, or the FA. They need to sit on a round table. I mean, and do the whole thing all together. We need the winners to also automatically, just as it's done for the men, it should also be done for the women. There should not be any disparity. That is not so proper, especially now that the women are showing that they are even more promising than the male counterparts.
Yes, more promising. I think that is what CAF need to do with all their members' body. They should sit down and look inward, allow these ladies to also qualify automatically the way the men are also qualifying for the preliminary round, than letting them going through this rigorous qualification from the WAFUB. You now get a representative. It's just too much. I think CAF need to actually go back to the drawing board and look what they can do in that aspect. Okay, let's leave Benin City now. Let's leave Delta Queens and go straight to Aba, where Finidi George has said it's going to be a different ball game when Al Ali Benghazi of Libya come visiting. It was a 7-goal thriller in the first leg, and we know what happened. Al Ali wrote to CAF that the coaching badge that Finidi George is carrying is not CAF, but USFA licensing coach, and he was not allowed to sit in the dugout. He was in the stands watching from afar. But he has promised that it's going to be a different ball game when Al Ali Benghazi come visiting in the reverse fixture. The first leg, it ended 4-3 against Enyiba of Aba.
I believe that Enyiba will not come home and concede 4 goals. I stand with Finidi George on this matter. He has a UEFA coaching A license, but even his assistant has a UEFA coaching C license. But then I wonder why Benghazi are protesting instead of them to concentrate. It's because they are protesting. That's why Eyimba were able to put in 3 goals. I think they need to leave politics aside and face business, which is football. Finidi was issued a bench ban for not having the CAF A license. I thought the superior license of UEFA should have given him the chance to be on the bench. But then I think the Benghazi are drifting, are trying to play a psychological one on the Finidi George team, Eyimba. But I believe that they will put their acts together and ensure that they silence them by coming back home and defeating them by the weekend, so that they can bury the issue of a coaching license aside and face business, go face reality, and stop rubbing that on our faces. Even Kanu Nwankwo, the director of football too, has not met with the team. I wonder what he is waiting for. I think they need to solve some internal challenges so that they can focus on the business at hand.
Yes, so that they can focus on the business at hand. Now, this same team, let's not forget that this same team defeated Plateau United in the last CAF competition. That's the CAF Champions League. They never allowed Plateau United to progress. Now, let's look at Nigerian clubs generally. It was only Bendel Insurance that won on match day 1, though in the CAF Confederations Cup. But for Enyimba and Remo Stars, they both lost their game. Remo Stars lost to Modema FC of Ghana. They are champions of the Ghanaian Premier League. Now, let's look at Nigerian clubs in the continent. After Enyimba did it in 2-3-2-4, it has not really been rosy for Nigerian clubs in the continental engagement.
Yes, of course. First of all, I'm glad that Alex Oti, the governor of State, was able to employ technocrats in Kanu Nwankwo, and we're happy seeing our Super Eagles 94 and Atlanta 96 squad taking the helm of affairs, and now we have Finidi George. I believe it's the right step in the right direction. The government have not been paying a lot of attention, to the football clubs resident in the different states. I think only OT is setting the record straight and leading by example. I want other governors to pay attention to the development of the clubs, the way OT is doing by taking the bull by the horn. If other clubs, if other states can pay attention to the club sites, and pay attention to their development, bringing technocrats that will ensure that the club is thriving very well. I think Plateau is on the right track, doing just exactly what's happening now. Governor Mutfwang is doing his bit to ensure that Plateau State returns back to the top. And Alex Oti is doing the same thing. I expect the other governors to toe the same line. I believe the fortunes of the club sides will turn around since 03-04 when Eyimba made us proud.
Yes, since 03-04 when Enyimba did it in the continent, we've not had that success. The last success we would have tasted was Dolphins of Port Harcourt in the CAF Confederations Cup final, but they also lost that final in 2006. Okay, let's leave Enyimba right about now and also continue with some football matters, but let's go straight to Ivory Coast, where one legend, Didier Drogba, has been appointed as the senior men's national team coach after badging his coaching license, and he has been saddled with the responsibility of taking Côte d'Ivoire to the Nations Cup and then 2026 World Cup also. That is his responsibility. Now, former actors, still actors in the business, but different, not playing on the pitch now, but on the sideline, telling the players how to play. Now, how did you see this for Didier Drogba becoming the national team coach for senior men's football in Côte d'Ivoire?
When he was signed from Olympique Marseille in 2004, we saw Drogba come into the league, took it by storm, became the first African player to score 100 goals in the English Premier League. That's not all. He won the UEFA Champions League. African Footballer of the Year. He was in the top 3 on 9 occasions, won on 2 occasions. I think runner-up on 4 occasions, third place on 3 occasions. I mean, he's arguably Chelsea's greatest player of all time, alongside Bobby Tambling and Frank Lampard. We are glad that his love and passion for football has not dwindled, and he has decided to obtain, I think, a UEFA coaching license. I hope they will not come back later and say he doesn't have a CAF license, like if you need a judge, and then start throwing big carries at him. Well, he has mandated to ensure that they win the next Nations Cup. I believe it's a possibility because the Ivory Coast, they are one of the giants of Africa. We're happy for the Drogba.
Yes, happy for Didier Drogba, and it's a good news that former legends, this is what we want. Also, the likes of Jejo Kocha, Victor Ekpeba, Lawara, Celestine Babayaro, Emmanuel Babayaro, all our own ex-players should also go into coaching, or if not coaching, they should go into the administrative ways and also bring their wealth of experience. And for Didier Drogba, he has been saddled with the responsibility of taking that team to the next World Cup, and then he will also be with the team when they host the Nations Cup come next year. But what are the chances of Cote d'Ivoire come the Nations Cup in 2024? Do you think with Didier Drogba they have a chance of lifting that trophy? The last one in 2015.
Yes, I believe he will definitely throw all his attention to ensure that all the best Cote d'Ivoire players all around the world playing in the different leagues are assembled to ensure that he carries out this task, because he has been mandated to deliver a trophy or face getting sacked. So I'm sure he will do everything within his power. As a former player, he has had the experience. He's toured around the world. He definitely knows where to send, all his scouts to ensure that they get all the best Cote d'Ivoire players to assemble them and get ready to hit the ground running.
Yes, assemble all the best players for Cote d'Ivoire and get ready to hit the ground running. Okay, let's go straight to Turkey. Now, let's talk about one player I respect so much. That is Marco Verratti. Galatasaray has actually beamed their searchlight on him, and they are looking for a way to snap him up. Also, we know that clubs from Saudi Arabia are also looking for Marco Verratti, but Galatasaray this time around are fronting and doing all they can to get the services of Marco Verratti from PSG. Now, Marco Verratti, Galatasaray, good deal or stay with PSG?
This is a player, you can call him a superstar. I mean, he's such a midfield maestro with an extraordinary touch on the ball. It's unfortunate that the whole of last season, in 28 appearances or 29 appearances, we didn't see him dish any assist. We didn't see him score any goal. But of course, you don't expect him to score because you have a trio of forward in Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar, who can create their own goals. When you give them the ball, they know how to breeze past defenders. And so you don't expect them to be scoring tap-in goals. And that's the position Marco Verratti found himself, where he had three superstars, in front of him. He just couldn't supply them any assist because they would turn it into a dribble and then send the ball to the back of the net. So it looks as if Verratti is past his prime, but I still believe he is a world-class player. And since there's so much exodus from PSG, yes, maybe he should just go to Galatasaray. After all, he's an Italian that has cemented himself as one of the best players, to ever step on the pitch. So going to Galatasaray may just give him back some limelight. Maybe he'll just be the top player in that league. It's not a bad one at all.
It's not a bad one for Marco Verratti, a very versatile, combative midfielder, very strong. Whenever he's on the pitch, he knows how to do all the dirty jobs and get all the balls and help the team to actually win. Marco Verratti, you have to just make your choice, know where to go, whether to stay with PSG or go to Galatasaray or find your way to Saudi Arabia, where the money is being doled out right now. If you want money, come to Saudi Arabia. That is what it is with the Saudi Arabia Professional Football League. But for Marco Verratti, I think he was going to weigh his option either to stay or to leave, because big names, the likes of Neymar, Messi, have left that place, and we know what is going on with Kylian Mbappe also, who wants to leave the team, but he has said he will stay until his contract expires, and the team are looking for a way to lure him to sign a new contract extension. Okay, before we go on the show sports update, let's take this one. Let's go straight to Manchester City, where Bernardo Silva has extended his contract until 2025. We all know that he also clause we are looking for a signature, but Man City actually acted fast by giving him a contract extension. Bernardo Silva extending his contract with Manchester City.
Yes, of course. Initially, he signed a 6-year contract from 2017 or so. We are glad that Bernardo Silva has been able to, extend his contract. We noticed that even Barcelona showed interest in him. Even the Saudi League showed interest in him. But with the departure of Riyad Mahrez, Gundogan moving out, and of course, Kevin De Bruyne injured for the next 3 to 4 months, Bernardo Silva, if he had stepped out of Man City, I would have said that is the end of an era. I would have said that's the end of a generation, where you have the likes of Xavi and Iniesta in Barca. That was what Bernardo Silva, Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, Riyad Mahrez have been to Manchester City. So we are happy for Bernardo Silva for extending his contract so that Man City can remain a contender. Yeah, it's a good move for him.
It's a good move for him. Bernardo Silva extending his contract with Manchester City. That is where we'll leave it on Sports Update. Thanks for your time on the show, Abba Michael.
Any day, anytime. Sports Senator, you are the best.
All right. Thanks for watching. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.